All right. Thank you, everybody, for being on. We appreciate you. Let's get started. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of mine heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer, and it is in His name, which is His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect tonight's message. Amen. Hola, mi nombre es Kofi. ¿Cómo está? Bonjour, je m'appelle Kofi. Ça va? Ni hao, namaste. Osayana Kitabuya, Ohio. I see you. Manut, Wagwan, Kamsa, Kamsamida, Aloha, Ciao, Onson. Habarigani, Aquaba, Madasi, Etese, Jambo, Mimini Kofi, Nita Franco, Katana Wewe, Barakala Chami Hava, Anai Kofai, Kwahilatan Servants of Christ, Mashalam Hey. Hello, everybody. I am Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, but being the voice of the voices and speaking the unspoken. Greetings. Prayerfully, if you missed this rising, we tried to put out a bunch of announcements, but just in case you missed it, we did have an hour plus that we were on, but we'll continue. And tomorrow I will be on live tomorrow as a makeup for not being able to make it the last few days of last week. And we also had to, because I had to take care of some stuff with the vehicle, we had to push early rise of Bible study session to tomorrow. So prayerfully, you guys got those announcements, and prayerfully you saw that, and you'll be able to join us. We give our honor and praise once again to the Most High. We give our praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Amma, who lives a life that is able to be honored. As always, you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Shalom, peace, everybody. We give our honor to Yah for the minister, secretary, those who make calls and do different things behind the scenes, SOC adjacent, those who use your gifts, talents, and otherwise to bless us and bless the kingdom, bless Yahweh foremost. We're thankful and grateful to each and every one of you. And so we're going to get ready to jump right in. Once again, I will be on live tomorrow. And if you were coming for the event, for the meetup for the Bible Museum, prayerfully we will or you got a text train. So if you aren't on the text train, if you didn't get any information, no text train, whatever, it is important that we hear from you to make sure that you're added, especially if you're somebody who has given donation to make sure that you're going to come with us for the Bible Museum itself on the 24th. We'll be meeting up to the 23rd, Friday the 23rd. We'll be meeting up the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So prayerfully, all of you have received that are coming, have received stuff we put out there, asked questions about making sure that we had purchased the correct amount of tickets and all that stuff, and trying to make sure that we have things planned out for everybody who is going to be showing up. Aman. All right. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate you for being on. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get into this. Let's say shalom to everybody, and we'll say our Bible pledge and jump right in. How you doing, Brother TJ, Sister Deborah, Sister Beck, Sister Dawn, Sister Tamika? How you doing, Sister Mignon? I don't know how to pronounce it. Forgive me. Preaux, Preaux. Como está mi hermana Sherry? How you doing? Is it Country Cowgirl, Brother Darius, and anybody who's joining us, whether you're joining us live or joining us later on? I believe Daz, In Motion. Everybody, we're thankful, grateful to have you on with us. So we'll say our Bible pledge. We'll jump right into this message, and then we shall let you enjoy the rest of your evening, and hopefully you get some sleep and prepare yourselves for tomorrow. Also praying for safe traveling mercy for those that are on the road. And thank you for those of your prayers for us as we are somewhat staying here just to try and make sure that we get things together here before we start making our way back up north, to then make our way a little further south, then to make our way all the way up north again, to then come all the way back down to where we are. Thank you, family, for all that you do and all that you mean to us and all that you mean to the Most High. So we'll go ahead and say our Bible pledge. You can just repeat after me. This is my Bible. This is my sword. And this will I trust. For Yahshua is Lord. No sword of God shall ever be heard. For this is my Bible. And this is Yah's word. Atshem Yechavach. Aman, which is in Yahweh's name, His Shem, His authority. Amen. How you doing, Sister Monica? You may be seated to go back to what you're doing in the presence of the Most High Yah. How you doing, Sister Snet? Sister Snet, if you didn't get the text train, I'm not sure if I ordered the right amount of tickets for you. please check that out on the text and tell me if I need to rearrange that, and we'll make sure that we get that correct for you guys for the DC trip. And those who are coming to Philly for the Day of Atonement, we're gonna have a text train for you guys that'll be popping up soon as well. So please, ma'am, please, sir, be ready for that. And if you are even in the New York area and stuff like that, maybe we can see if there's persons that you can ride up with or whatever, or ride down with. If you're in the DMV or Baltimore or something like that, there might be persons you might be able to ride up to Philly and ride back down with as well. We also have a couple persons that are going to be riding in for that, so or flying in for that. So we're excited about everything that y'all's doing. All right. So tonight I want to talk about We Are the Gatekeepers. Holy Spirit has on my heart, pressed upon me all day to talk about We Are the Gatekeepers. Praise Yah. We are the gatekeepers, right? Yahashua tells us that if we love him, I believe it's said a couple of times in John 14 and John 15, maybe even John 13 as well. But if we love him, we will keep his commandments. How you doing, Sister Michelle? The Bible declares if we love him, we will keep his commandments. Also, too, Sister Michelle, I was supposed to get in contact with some persons you asked me to get in contact with, and we have been contacting each other back and forth. So we're just trying to make some stuff happen, and prayerfully we'll be able to make happen what you were asking. But it looks like the interest is there, just to give you a heads up with that too, before I forget to let you know. So the Bible declares, if we love Yah, we will keep his commandments. And thank you for the love. We are the gatekeepers. Now, Holy Spirit brought this to my attention because I do, even though I'm not all the way up on it, I do keep up with pop culture somewhat, especially because we should know what's going on with our babies, know what's going on that's informing a lot of persons' decisions, know what persons are thinking in the world, right? So I was kind of listening to some stuff. I still haven't watched, like Sinners and stuff like that and everything, but I was kind of listening to the last couple of weeks. There's been really high again on the Kendrick versus Drake thing. It was like a year anniversary of, I guess, when the beef started, when all these songs came out. So I was listening to a bunch of stuff going on there. How you doing? And thank you for the love. And I'm freezing. Am I freezing for everybody on TikTok? Can you hear me on TikTok? Can you hear me on YouTube? Am I freezing up? Can you guys hear me? I'm buffering. I am buffering. Okay. Can you hear me on YouTube? Am I buffering on YouTube? I'm back down, on and off. Okay, it says that I've got green, and it says that we got the Wi-Fi signal. Okay, YouTube's okay. All right, well, I'll hold on one second. So I tried to take it off of the Wi-Fi. That's about all I can do is either put it on Wi-Fi or take it off. So prayerfully this is better. How you doing, Brother Rodney? So I was listening to a lot of persons talk about Drake and Kendrick and the battle and all the stuff, and I was listening to persons go through things, and I was listening to some of the persons, and I started realizing a pattern, right? I started realizing there's a pattern that I started to see, and just roll with me for a second. If you don't know about any of the stuff or don't care about it, whatever, just roll with me. I promise it's gonna make sense. I started to notice a pattern that all these persons that now seem to be anti-Drake were persons that were pro-Drake or told everybody it was okay to support the stuff that Drake did. How you doing, Big Brother Thomas? So for example, everybody wants to talk about Drake, in A minor. If you don't know about A minor, you probably know about A minor, even if you don't know about the beef. But different things like that and Drake. But it's like everybody was fighting for him all these times. And I remember during the battle, when it was starting to pick up, everybody was making it a big deal. To say, well, I like both artists and blah, blah, and that. I'm not saying Kendrick Lamar is perfect. By far, he's not. I think even by his own admission, he's not, even with some of the things he does that he says that he's going to do no matter what, he realizes they could be wrong. So I'm not doing everything Kendrick does is right, everything Drake does is wrong. I'm just simply talking about a lot of the persons who commented on the situation. And I was listening, and I started realizing that a lot of the persons who are now starting to pick up on YouTube were persons that used to be the writers. If you guys remember back in the day, there'd be stuff like in hip hop called like XXL or Source magazines. There were the Source Awards. There was obviously like BET and The Basement, all this stuff. And a lot of these persons were the writers for some of those things. So we didn't see them on television, but if you wanted to know whose album was worth getting, they used to have a thing back in the day where you had to have like 5 stars or 4 stars, 3 stars, whatever. Or was it 4 stars, 5 stars? I think it was 5 stars. I could be wrong on that. But I just recall um we had to go to these persons, and I started thinking about the names. I was like, oh yeah, so and so used to write for such and such. You said you did not get what I was saying while you were in TikTok. I was saying that you asked me to reach out, or well, I was supposed to be reached out to by some persons, or vice versa. I was just letting you know we've been having conversations, and that it looks like there's interest there for what you were asking about. So prayerfully, we'll be able to get that up and going without me giving too much more out. But you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I was listening to these persons, and I started realizing like these persons are problematic because you were the ones that was allowing a lot of the language, the lingo, the calling women out their name, all this stuff, because the Drake versus Kendrick thing, Kendrick smartly made it about morality, right? He missed the morale, so to speak. And so he made it that Drake was immoral and he was moral. Now we know that's not exactly the way that works. Nevertheless, that's what the battle became about. And so now all these persons who were trying their best, you would see during the battle, even a lot of the persons that do reaction videos. If you don't know about on YouTube videos or YouTube reaction videos are like a big deal. Where basically you'll have these persons who react to videos, and it's like you watching a video with them. It kind of picked up since 2020, especially, but even before then, people wanted to see somebody react to a video and hear what they had to say about it, almost like critiquing something. And and so these persons, a lot of them blew up during the whole Kendrick versus Drake thing. And I remember going back, and all these persons now who are like for example, Drake had a line in Family Matters where he was saying that Kendrick's always trying to rap like he's trying to get the slaves freed. How you doing, Minister Morel? And I remember that was problematic for me hearing it the first time. I was like, wait a minute, why would it be bad that he would be rapping trying to get the slaves freed? But a lot of persons, they laughed, they scoffed at it. They were like, oh yeah, this is battle rap, da, da. And now a lot of them will be the persons that you'll hear them now, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that was he lost. That was one of the reasons he lost, because he said he tried to get the slaves free. But it's like, you guys were uplifting that though. You guys were laughing. You guys were clapping about that. You guys were saying that's what we need in battle rap, and hip hop is back and all that, right? When Drake was lying clearly and saying that Kendrick wasn't with his wife, and that Dave Free, Kendrick's manager and business partner, all of a sudden was having sex with his wife, and one of the children belonged to him and all that. Or when Drake was saying stuff like, even though he didn't say it to the last song, but still people were acting like it was okay for Drake to try and make fun of Kendrick because Drake was saying that Kendrick was molested due to one of the lyrics of Kendrick's older songs, and Kendrick actually never said that. Drake never really truly listened to it, or didn't know how to get the bars together. As Kendrick said, it's tough when it comes to integrity when the metaphor doesn't reach you, right? And so he heard a metaphor and totally took it out of pocket when Kendrick was saying that his mother had dealt with being abused, and since she was abused, she was, she thought that Kendrick must be getting abused and stuff like that. But people just let it go and go and go. And I thought about how many years back to go, and how many times we knew, Drake wasn't writing his own rhymes, that Drake kept lying about his religious thought process, that Drake was lying about having a child, that he's hiding multiple children more than likely, but at least for sure we know he hid one, because Pusha T brought that out. If you know about the beef, it was really, really crazy. Pusha T basically outed Drake. Drake was going to try, he wouldn't claim his own child, and then finally when he was going to claim him, he was going to do so publicly through a deal with Adidas. He named his son Adidon. It was going to basically bring his child up before the world while we can make money off of it, and Pusha T jumped in front of that and basically brought it out, right? And so all this stuff, though, people would just keep making excuses for it. Drake was doing his best with any enemies he felt he had to try and sleep with their women, their wives, their girlfriends. He was talking trash about his ex-girlfriends like Serena Williams. That's why she was crip walking during the Super Bowl. Or he was talking about Rihanna. Talking about all these different persons or whatever on his new music. One person, which I don't even know if it's the girlfriend of Joe Budden. I think it's just the person who's on the show with him. But he said that he was disappointed in her and called Joe Budden a D sucker and all this stuff. And people just kept making excuses. And I was just looking at it and I was like, man, you know what? You guys are the problem. You're a big problem because you should have been the gatekeepers. For those that are hip hop, those that want to be hip hop, et cetera, you all are supposed to be the gatekeepers. You all are supposed to be the ones to tell us, no, not him. Right. You all, there used to be a lot of gatekeeping and people look at it bad, but it used to be a thing where no, like we don't allow that. We don't allow that in the community. We don't allow this type of person. They on that weird freaky stuff. We don't allow this type of person in because we trying to make sure that stuff stays the way it's supposed to be. And even though you could say there was some male chauvinism for sure, there was also a thing of masculinity supposed to be in place. You had a Queen Latifah to come out, even though she has her own stuff behind the scenes, we know. But there was a Queen Latifah that would step up, and she actually is the one who put that song out and said, I forget who the artist was, but she actually produced a record where a guy was speaking about women being, H's or whatever. And she said, no, UNITY, you're not a B, you're not a H. How you doing, Wagwan, Sister Audrey? And thank y'all for the love. And so, those were things we had gatekeepers, KRS-One. Even if you don't believe with all of his philosophies, he's a gatekeeper. If you want to know how you doing, Minister Smaila Ray, if you want to know what's in the hip hop game, if you want to know what's going on culturally, if you want to know what's the difference between a rap artist and an MC, etc., you got somebody like that. Yeah, you had an MC Light, and even though she had some questionable lyrics too, but she was a gatekeeper. She'd come out there and she was like, no, I don't have to show my body in the sultry ways. I'll be nice. And I don't even know sultry is a word. Sultry is a nice word. In the provocative fashion that other MCs that were females would show themselves. But she was like, I can still have some form of respect. And she still gets respect because of that, right? Like there were gatekeepers. It was okay that we had gatekeepers. There were gatekeepers in R&B. There were gatekeepers in blues, if somebody would say something about Elvis, Ray Charles would come out and be like, Elvis ain't got no talent. It was a gatekeeper. Lauryn Hill, was somebody like we would go to. Hey, girls, you better watch out. Some guys are only about that thing. Hey, guys, you better watch out. Some girls, they're only about that thing. We had gatekeepers, and it was okay to go to these persons. And what happened is, over time, a lot of these writers and a lot of persons were given responsibility, and we let a lot of stuff get out of pocket. Right, we let a lot of stuff get outside of what was considered to be hip hop, or what was considered to be really, before we called it hip hop. Now we want to say hip hop first. Before it was just our culture. People try to say hip hop culture, but for real, we had a culture. Wearing chains ain't new to. It isn't something that hip hop brought around. We've been people that wore chains. Making sure that we could find ways to flip the script to where somebody says something negative about it, we turn it into something positive. That's been something about our people, our culture, right? And but you had these gatekeepers that now want to sit back and go, oh yeah, Drake, he's a fan. They want to sit out there and they want to say, oh yeah, anybody, things are going back to the way they should be. But you guys were the ones telling us to buy Drake. You guys were the ones to say, get Lil Durk, get Lil Yachty. You guys are the ones that help people like Young Gravy. If you don't know who Young Gravy is, it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. But go and look up Young Gravy if you don't know who that is, and see how wild and crazy and this stuff is, where and out of pocket. You guys are the ones that had that wanted us to be supporting and said it's bad that we're saying bad things about mumble rap or things about persons who aren't saying anything, or that we're not allowing people to express themselves, that everybody had bad stuff in their cup. But these persons were clearly messing up our culture, and we didn't have gatekeepers, to the point to where they had us trying to feel bad about a Bill Cosby. Look, however you feel about Bill, is however you feel. People feel different about, is he guilty, is he not guilty, is he morally wrong but still not lawfully wrong, etc. Whatever. That's another conversation. That being said, Bill Cosby comes out and he starts telling you some of the stuff about this culture is that's messing up our culture is terrible. And we were like, how dare you, forgetting that he grew up as a you use the term YN. Well, at one point he was a YN from Philly. You know what I'm saying? like Bill Cosby is as hood as it gets, but we don't think about it that way, because he would dare say that he should gatekeep, that we should gatekeep, that we should say certain things inadmissible. Even if Bill Cosby is guilty, even if you feel he's guilty of everything they said and then some, right? If Bill Cosby comes out and gatekeeps and says, hey, we should make sure that we comprehend that they whitewash a lot of stuff, we shouldn't just go, oh, because he was, and I'm not saying if he's guilty of the stuff, obviously it's terrible, but we're not going to act like he didn't tell the truth. Like if we'll make concessions for these presidents, then we can sure enough make concessions for our own. And I say all that to say that Holy Spirit showed me that, and then switched it, and she said, how much of that exists in the assemblies of the so-called assemblies of Yah, or the assemblies of God, right? How many persons were supposed to, right? They're just as much responsible as, for a lot of the stuff that's gotten in. If you go past Jamal Bryant, right? If we go past Jamal Bryant, we get to a place. Hopefully, I'm back on YouTube. I tried to come in and come out. If we go past Jamal Bryant, remember there was a Paula White. Everybody built Paula White up, including mostly Black folk. And Paula White, when she had a chance to stand up for righteousness, she became All Lives Matter. Joel Osteen has denied what that Yah cares about homosexuality. He has made movies that are about false stories about Mary, the mother of Christ, and therefore false stories about Christ. He allows Kanye West, in his mental health issues and him not even having a testimony, to go and preach at his church, so that he can play music, and that Kanye can sell $300, $400, $500 shirts and $200 shoes. He wouldn't let persons in during the storm in Houston, wouldn't unlock the church doors, and said it was due to the fact that there was flooding, that we know for a fact from eyewitness testimony and others that were even closer to the situation, that that wasn't the case. But we allowed these persons to build this up. So these persons who are now coming, and all these persons who are starting to come in, and now everybody wants to talk about Yahweh or Yahweh or Yahuwah, etc., and want to say, yeah, we're here, we're part of this charge, we've been telling the truth the whole time. The reality is that you haven't told any truth. Right? The reality is that we were counting on you. Matter of fact, we had no thought process other than you. We didn't know that it was possible to get any truth, so we thought it was truth, from any other source except you. And you did the same thing to us that oppressors did. You did the same thing to us that those who are supposed to be of the devil did. And if they're supposed to be the devil and did it, and you did the same thing, we should ask ourselves whose side you're on, right? And so we have an opportunity now to do what the word says, to keep the word. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. By the way, a commandment refers to law. So the question has to be asked tonight, right? I won't even go that much longer. The question has to be asked tonight. Are you a gatekeeper? And what are you letting in? And what are you letting out? The question has to be asked. Are you a gatekeeper? The Bible says that we should keep, that we shouldn't let things in, right? We should make sure that we don't recognize thieves who come in any other way except the door, right? My sheep know my voice, and my sheep should know that they, according to our Lord and Savior, Yahshua HaMashiach, the sheep should know that the shepherd only uses the door to get in and out. Why would a shepherd use any other way into where the sheep are except the door? Obviously, there could be emergency situations and stuff, but just stay with me in context, right? For the most part, a shepherd uses the door. Put it like this. I am the father of my home, right? I'm the husband, right? I'm the head masculine presence in my house. I don't come in the house, even though we have a back door. For the most part, I'm coming in and out of the front door. If I'm leaving, I'm usually leaving in and out of the front door, right? if you were to see me come in, if you were to see somebody coming in through the window, you should probably make the assumption that they're probably not who they say they should be or who they claim to be. And I apologize if you're coming on YouTube. Um, might not be able to see you. I had to go on and go off, and it looks like I'm not able to see your comments anymore. But it looks like persons are starting to come on again. So prayerfully, you can hear me where you are. I apologize for not answering your comments if you're making comments, right? But I, being the father of my home, you wouldn't expect me to come in through the window, right? Definitely not on a regular basis. Why? Especially the way my house is designed, it takes a lot for me to get through the window. Right. So if somebody were to see me going through the window, even if they called the police on me, I might be frustrated, but I would still be like, I get it. Why? Because you seeing me go in a different way. If somebody were to see me trying to get in through the roof, if somebody were to try to see me make a hole in there, somebody were to see me try and make a hole in the window and try to get in through another window, like that might even be under, close to underground or whatever, the way that the house is designed and everything, somebody should call the police, especially if they don't know me, because why would I go through any other entrance than that way? And we should be gatekeepers. If somebody's trying to bring something in any other way outside of Yahashua HaMashiach, hey, hold up. Are you a gatekeeper? I just asked the question because we've had many persons assume the title, or we've given them the title of gatekeeper, or we grew up just assuming, hey, this is so and so, they're supposed to be the gatekeeper, but we're starting to see the damage. And now I don't care how much these jokers are talking nowadays and saying, oh yeah, I about this and I was about black power, this and I'm about, but look, we was there, we saw this when it was under your helm. You were in charge, you could have helped, you could have said, you could have spoken. You knew that these scriptures existed against these romantic holidays, but you kept it up. You knew that children were being tossed to and fro in these schools, but you kept supporting the schools, right? You knew that these presidents were setting a vile precedent. And what did you do, right? Just like I said, this whole, you're going to see, if you're into the whole Drake Kendrick thing, if not, you see it with a bunch of other things. When somebody's saying something, this is where the rubber meets the road. I might not be a Republican or a Democrat, but I can respect, right? Respect if you don't change now, and this is a low bar, but nowadays, if you don't change your position, I can at least respect it, right? Like John McCain lost respect for a minute from me because John McCain was willing to tell his perspective and be respectful to Obama, no matter what. When they said you're gonna lose, though, then they said, let's give you Sarah Palin, and you need to be okay with going ahead and trying to wreck Obama. And that's what he tried to do. That's when I lost respect. You know, when I gained respect back for him, when he lost and he said, hey, he's president. And then not only that, but he followed it up and he said, hey, man, we need to do sub bipartisan. Even if even if I feel like he still wasn't for us, I can at least respect when you doing stuff what you think is the right way. I can at least say, okay, like you're not changing up. Bernie Sanders, go back and listen to Bernie Sanders in the 1990s, listen to him today. I can respect, regardless of what you feel about, if he's really genuine on this stuff, I can respect he ain't changed. Right. It's hard when you change up. And this is, and look, I'm not saying that somebody can't change for the wiser, but I'm talking about clear, wherever the flag is, that's where you change. And this is why people are getting tired of, well, they already were tired of Candace Owens. But with Candace Owens, she was somebody who actually, believe it or not, was a gatekeeper for your community, at least for a little bit. How you doing, Jojo? How you doing, Leonard? Right? Yeah, Proverbs 3:5, trust in Yahweh with all thine heart and lean not to your own understanding. Amen. Right? And all verse 6, in all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. Um, you know, Candace Owens was somebody who was anti-Trump, heavily so. Then all of a sudden there was money presented to her. She became pro-Trump. Now all of a sudden she losing money again. She's trying to see where she fits in. That's when that's when the true lack of respect happens. Because even if you look, if you forget my language, it is what it is. If you Conan, if you really believe in it and that's what it is, I can't really respect your position, but at least I can respect you as much as, oh, okay, this is what this person genuinely believes. They not changing this and that or whatever. But when you need to change to get money or views or votes or whatever the case might be, that's when I have a problem with you. And this has happened with a lot of our people who were supposed to be the gatekeepers. Just like what happened with, we are seeing stuff now where everybody was, oh yeah, Drake this, Drake this, Drake this. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, now Drake's losing. Now all of a sudden, oh yeah, I was always against Drake. No, you weren't. We can literally look online a year earlier to see what you were saying. You clearly were not Team Kendrick, or you were afraid to be all the way over there because a lot of persons had a lot of money in Drake, and Drake was the cool choice. But now that morality is becoming cool, which you should be careful with that too. Don't let morality become cool or be fashionable. Or what do you call that when what do they call that? Somebody help me out. What's that? It's like a one syllable word, a fad. For a lot of people, morality has become a fad because Kendrick won trying to make himself the moral side and make Drake the immoral side. And so since he beat immorality in a rap battle, we're trying to say morality is cool for the second. So be careful with that too. Right. When morality is a fad, it's not factual. Right. It's not factual in your life. It needs to become a way of life. That being said, though, all these cats that want to act like they were rocking with morality the whole time. No, we see you. We saw what you did. We saw what you meant. We saw how you lived. We saw how you was perpetrating. We saw the lies that you was spitting. We saw that you was getting paid off of both sides. You were getting paid on YouTube because you were supporting Kendrick. You was getting paid on YouTube because you were supporting Drake, and you were hoping they were going to keep going back and forth even longer because you wanted to keep making bank. You could care less about how it actually affected the community. Just like these cats that were writing for Drake and covering up that he had the child. Like this whole thing of when everybody was like, "Addie Don, he had a child." In the hip hop game, this was known. It was known he was messing with the prostitute, or sorry, he does mess with prostitutes, but that's not who this girl was. Excuse me. Let me be respectful. He was messing with the girl who was a corn star, right? It was known. And it was known that he got her pregnant, and it was known that the baby was his, and it was known he was trying not to pay for the baby. And it was known that he was going to try and make money off of telling the world about the baby. Pusha T just finally had enough of him and said, okay, you want to go there? You want to mention my fiance's name? Let me go ahead and put your business out there. Right. And we've had a lot of gatekeepers in our community, in our spiritual communities, in our Israelite community, in the so-called church communities, who have literally known about a lot of these things that have been affecting our people over and over and over again. And we should start holding them accountable for, once again, Yahashua, right? Mashiach, our Messiah. He said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Said, if you love me, how you doing, Jason? Excuse me. If you love me, he said, you keep my commandments. Be a gatekeeper. Don't allow this stuff in, especially don't allow it in now, trying to fit in. A lot of persons are trying their best to let a whole bunch of unrighteousness settle and trying to fit in and trying to be like, well, I don't want to rock the boat. Yahashua also says, right? He said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. He also gives us a word. He says this, he says, if you're ashamed of me here on earth, then I'll be ashamed of you before my Father in heaven. Like, make it known now, no matter how much pain and anguish you go through, you can't go through hell because you're not chosen to go through hell. You understand that? Remember, we talked about that before. Nobody's in hell except, matter of fact, nobody's in hell yet. The Satan is not in charge of hell. Yahweh is. And until he gives the word, hell is locked up. So you don't worry about, oh man, I feel like you're not going through hell. As we've been talking about the shot with Abraham, blessed to those that will bless you, and curse to those that will curse you. We have to make a decision, and we got to be straight up. We have to make a decision. Choose ye this day who you will serve. We are the gatekeepers. It's our responsibility. We have an opportunity to do something that some of our forefathers did not, which is we will stand for righteousness no matter what. I just had a great conversation with somebody today, even concerning some of the stuff with the land project and all that stuff, right? But we get to be the persons in charge. We get to say this is righteous, this is not. Not because we wrote it, but because we're going to say what Yah wrote. We're going to say what Yah said. We're going to believe in what he said, to the point of, if somebody says we're going to throw you in the furnace and turn it up hotter, if it be Yah's will for us to be saved, and so be it. If not, we'll be in heaven. But even if it's not his will that our flesh be saved in the moment, we shall not be moved. And now watch you come out not even smelling like smoke, bonds free, and having the Son of Man walking next to you. At this point, it's just a belief thing. Are you a gatekeeper, and will you walk as a gatekeeper? My brothers and sisters don't like it. Are you a gatekeeper? Well, I was talking to some guy and I thought the relationship might go well, but he's not big on that. But are you a gatekeeper? Well, it gets tough in this walk, and sometimes it's just easy to just, are you a gatekeeper? Let Yah mean Yah, be Yah, and that means let yea be yea and let nay be nay. Yes is yes, no is no, according to Yah's will, his word, his way. Amen. Amen. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, family. I'm not going to hold you any longer. Just wanted to go ahead and meet up with you. I will be on tomorrow. I won't be working throughout the day tomorrow, but I will be on tomorrow, 8 a.m. New York time, for the live session in the Rise and the Makeup for last week. And just keep us in prayer. If I don't see you tomorrow, I shall see you. Well, outside of Patreon, I guess I'll see you guys on Thursday Rising Prayer, and we should get back on track. I believe Thursday is going to be Q&A. So prayerfully, you have a great night. Thank you for being on. We honor you all. If you are coming to DC for Memorial Day meetup and you haven't gotten a text, been seen any text or text train yet, reach out to me so we can make sure we add you to it or redo it. I don't even know how to redo it, or I might have to just redo it from scratch, but just make sure that we can add you to it. Make sure that your spot and everything is paid for, and all that, for the amount of persons that are coming. If there's any more or any less persons coming, anything like that, we can also hear from you. And we have an itinerary, at least a draft for the itinerary that's been sent out as well to everybody. Also, feel free to reach out to Sister Renee for more information. And pretty soon this week, those who are coming to Philly for June 1st for Pentecost, you should be getting a text train that you can be part of as well, for everybody in the area. Even if you're not coming in person, I'm gonna just put everybody in the area that is in distance of coming by vehicle. At least we'll make sure that you guys get information. So if you want to converge upon that spot with us, you can. And we look forward to talking to you guys very soon. I haven't forgotten about you guys. We're looking at possibly coming back through Texas for one of the holy days. And we're looking at possibly trying to see if we can get up to Detroit, or well, Michigan, Illinois, that area, and those who are in Ohio that are close to Detroit. Maybe we can set up a couple of days or something too. So we'll start trying to put some of that stuff together and see if it's possible. All right. We were behind, so we didn't even get a chance to see you guys in Tennessee. We didn't even get a chance to see you guys in the Carolinas. Well, actually, we haven't gone up north yet, so we might get a chance to see some of you guys in those areas on the way back. But we haven't forgotten about you. Just scheduling didn't allow us to make it, but we're still going to try our best at some point in the year to see what we can do. All right. We are going to be doing more stuff, especially after June 1st. We got to do a few weeks or so in the presence of the land and make sure that we're growing some food and make sure we're showing some results. Right. So we got to make that happen at some point too. And we might have to travel some out of the country. I don't know. We might be blessed enough to, we might be doing enough to where we have to consider that for the first time, to go in some other places that we haven't been. So keep us in prayer. I'm not sure, by the way, to give a heads up, Women in Red, the sisters going somewhere. I don't know if they're doing another cruise or just trying to find a spot to meet or something, but that is something that looks like it's being talked about. I'm not in the loop. If you guys do something, I'm just showing up wherever y'all tell me to show up, if I'm allowed to show up. So I believe the next women's meeting is not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, fourth Saturday, which should be May 24th. No, May 24th, right? Yeah, it should be May 24th. So, sisters, if you can, attend the women's meeting, and I'm pretty sure you could ask any questions about that that might need to be asked. Um, so be ready for that. And if you have suggestions of something that everybody can attend, it might be more affordable or whatever the case y'all think might be, you can go ahead and put that stuff out there. I'll leave that to the sisters though. Yeah, and then yeah, just everybody continue to look for the announcements. I will put an announcement out on Google Calendar invite for tomorrow, so everybody should be able to join up with us tomorrow as well for the word. Okay, so love you all to life. You all take care. Thank you so much. Don't forget, if you need to get in touch with somebody, you have the ministerial staff, you have a secretary, you even have certain persons that answer the calls, such as Sister Shima, Sister Monique. At some point, MIT Akita and MIT Raj will be added in there as well. Sister Taylor will be added in for Florida, North Carolina. Don't forget about Minister Elishava, excuse me, and Minister Yasav. If you're in the Northeast region right now, you can just pretty much check in with me, but MIT Akita will be helping me with that eventually down the road. I know there's others that are waiting for me in like the Detroit area and Ohio and Chicago and stuff for us to figure that out and get that back together as far as who's calling what who. And we're going to probably have some meetings with that as well. I haven't forgotten. I just got hurt last week. We are still supposed to be doing a watch party at some point. So maybe we'll try to sneak that in on Thursday night, start that on Thursday night, watch about an hour or something together. And then sneak back in on Saturday and get some stuff in together. So be ready for that stuff. But thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. We hope that all is well. Sorry about the signal issues. Hopefully everybody was able to get the majority of what we were talking about this evening. And as always, remember that you are loved. We give our honor and praise to the Most High. We give our praise and honor to my wife, the Honorable Amma. And remember that you are loved, you're necessary, you're majestic, you're fearfully, wonderfully made. And you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Take care. Peace.